Hey everyone, Sean Smith here with Dedicated Financial GBC in Roseville, Minnesota. I'm the founder and CEO doing our vlog on top 3 things funders need to do now. And that is, of course, on the back end or workout side. I think I could talk a lot about, underwriting or maybe considering shortening up your terms or something like that right now, as we very likely are heading into a pretty challenging recession. But that aside, my expertise, my background is on the workout side and that cradle to grave servicing that Dedicated does. So I want to give you the top 3 things to do now if you're a funder here in the commercial finance industry. So number 1 is this: have a plan for the recession and have a plan that makes it where the situation is way worse than it probably will be. And so every little nuanced thing is going to matter in that plan. Who's your internal team stacked up? What is your scaling? How are you going to move people over to workout? Who are your vendor partners? How well are they doing now? Where can you trim the budget and re-divert it over here? What are you going to do when values plummet on equipment or recovery rate goes dramatically down because there's far less money going around to pay debt, et cetera, et cetera. You have to have a plan. And I think talking with your vendor partners and maybe some of your veterans who've been through this before, I got in the industry around 03, so I've got about 20 years of doing this. I collected all through the Great Recession, so both on the consumer and the commercial side. And there was just a stark difference between people who had a solid running internal department with solid third-party vendors and people who did not and were scrambling. Second thing is ditch poor performance now. I know things are good. I know default rates are still at an all-time low in comparison to, they are starting to creep up, but they're still far below where they were pre-COVID, right? And so the tendency right now is to still keep focusing on how we can fund more deals. I see all these funders breaking records, and that's great. But if you don't have an effective and efficient workout process and waterfall process for those accounts, you can put all the money you want on the street, but if you can't get it back, you're going to be in the hurt locker. So you have to ditch both internal poor performance and external third-party vendor poor performance. And that can mean, someone that maybe has been with you for a while. But right now, while the house is not in fire, you want to get the fire extinguisher set up now, not when the house is burning down and you're running to the store. And think about how in demand those people are going to be from a hiring perspective then. Think about how busy your third-party vendors are going to be when things fully hit the fan, right? You don't want to be trying to come into that then and figuring out new processes and, going through KPIs together and what good performance is, because all of the numbers are going to be skewed. You're going to go from an environment right now, which is very much almost, kind of the hunt and pack, to almost kind of machine gunning, where you're just, volume is so high, you're just trying to get a hold of people and seeing what they can do. It's a totally different environment in a recession. And so you have to get rid of the internal folks that are not cutting the mustard, and the same thing with the third-party vendors. And the final thing I'll say is make everyone compete. And that includes your internal team competing against each other, but also have your third-party vendors do a champion challenge with some early stage stuff and see who does better. And if that third-party vendor just completely outmatches your internal team, you have some really tough questions you got to be asking yourself about what you're going to do if you have an ineffective internal team and you have third-party vendors that can outmatch them in what they do with that early stage product. So, have them compete, have a clear champion challenge, have internal and external compete on different things. Make sure you have a champion challenge for your third-party vendors on liquidation rate, payer rate, and performance on those type of things. And what are they doing to protect your brand? What kind of, complaints are they getting? Think about if they're getting complaints right now when things are good, what is that going to look like when the whole world is really hurting and this thing really turns, right? You've got to have these things in place now. So have a solid plan, ditch poor performance internally and externally, and have both internal and external compete. Make sure those champion challenge and those KPIs, that you're looking at the data. And I understand it's really easy to think about the front end right now, and I would also be considering tightening up your underwriting process, maybe consider shortening terms, things like that right now as preparation. But honestly, again, I'm going to come back to what I know on the back end side. So thank you guys as always for tuning in. I hope this was helpful. As always, please like, share, comment. We really appreciate that. And as always, thank you for tuning in, and God bless.